I'm Chief Executive at Origin. Thank you very much for tuning in to hear about our corporate plan. So what I'll be doing in this presentation is talking you through our vision as an organisation, our values and our ambitions, saying a little bit about the challenges that we face as an organisation, and then going into fill in a bit of the detail around how we expect to be able to achieve our goals over the next 5 years. So first of all, our legacy. So one of the unique things about Origin is that we are a long-established organisation that was founded by volunteers and people who really cared about their communities and about living conditions and about quality of life. We were founded in 1924 by Father Basil Jellicoe in Somerstown, so in the area where our main office now sits. And originally we were known as the St Pancras Home Improvement Society. And in the very short time that Basil Jellicoe was alive, he died at quite a young age. He achieved a huge amount and has left us this amazing legacy today, together with a number of the other founders and early employees of the organisation. So it's something we're really proud of. Our vision as an organisation is quite simple. It's about creating great homes that people are proud to live in. It's about positive people, so making sure that the people that work for our organisation are caring and responsive and are really focused on getting services right for customers. And also that we create strong communities, so helping people and neighbourhoods to thrive. We have some core values in the organisation that we expect people to be able to demonstrate in their day-to-day work and in their interactions with colleagues and customers. These are values which we developed together with staff over several months. It also involved local stakeholders and residents. So they really do reflect what's important about Origin and the way we want to behave. And we believe by living by these values that we will achieve our ambitions and our goals. So the first value is about taking the lead. And this is really recognising that everybody has the ability to be leaders, irrespective of your position in the organisation. And that really is a way to get things done. It's about creating energy. That's our value number 2. And understanding that in order to have an impact, we need to be energetic and we need to be able to inspire that in others. It's about building trust. This is really, really important between us as colleagues, with our residents and with our stakeholders. Our next value is around being generous. So this is about giving more of ourselves and doing it in a way that comes naturally. And getting fulfillment from that generosity. So that's in terms of time and effort and in helping others. Our next value is around staying grounded. So this is about recognizing that we know where life can take people, sometimes up, sometimes down, and we're realistic and pragmatic in our approach. And we really do believe it's our social responsibility to get individuals, families and communities back on track where things have gone awry. And then the final value is about remembering the little things. So recognising that we're here to make the world a better place. And that takes one small action at a time, and cumulatively and collectively that makes a huge difference. So what is our business here at Origin? Well, we are driven by our social purpose. We've expanded over the years and we now own and manage over 7,500 homes. Our offer is very diverse. We offer a range of different tenures and we offer different types of support for individuals, and it's all about meeting the priority needs of our communities. Our real focus, particularly over the next few years, is on landlord service quality and also safety for our residents, because these are the things where we need to see significant change and improvement. We are investing in our transformation and we have an active change programme, which is reviewed on an annual basis and managed through our change board to make sure that the projects that we're working on are relevant to our ambitions as an organisation and that they're deliverable and we achieve the impact that we set out to achieve. We do strongly believe in strong stakeholder relationships because what we're trying to achieve cannot be achieved on our own. We need to work with others, and that means listening and understanding and working together with others to deliver on common objectives. We have a strong development pipeline, so we are known as a developing organisation, and we think it's part of our social purpose to create new homes. And we have a pipeline of around 1,000 homes right now. And the good news is we are financially robust. Our annual turnover, so our income from rents, is around 55 million. Sometimes it's higher depending on sales of properties, but our core income is at around that level. And we have a significant loan portfolio as well of around 400 million pounds. So we borrow that money primarily to build new homes, and to finance that, because the amount of grant that we receive from government is relatively small, only something like 20% of the cost of a new home. So we have to use private finance to make up the rest, and we have to repay those loans. So our interest costs are quite a significant part of our annual liabilities. So thinking about the challenges and looking ahead, we need to think about our business and how we operate as an organisation, our people, and that's our colleagues and our residents, and also look to the future. What are those challenges that we're facing in the future, and how do we respond to those? So these are just some of the key challenges that we have taken into account in putting our plan together. So it's important that we recognise these, because we need to be able to make sure that as an organisation we are robust and we're strong enough to bounce back from any shocks. And we also recognise some of the problems that we need to solve in achieving the ambitions that we're setting for ourselves. So the first one is around the prospect of economic recession. Now, coming out of the pandemic, what we've actually seen is a boom. So we've seen perhaps a reverse of our original expectations around these challenges. And there are implications of a financial boom, including rising inflation and costs generally. But similarly, if we do enter into a recession at some point, then that's something that we will also have to grapple with, and we have to plan for that. One key challenge for us is meeting new fire safety standards. We've invested a huge amount of money over the last few years in improving the safety of our buildings and the safety of our residents. But we still have quite a lot of investment to make if we're going to meet the requirements of new legislation and guidance. And we do have to balance that with planned investment in homes. So that is quite a challenge in itself. The sum of money we put aside to invest in fire safety over the next few years is something like a quarter of our gross income. So it really does make a difference in terms of what we can achieve, and makes achieving value for money really, really important. We also know that attracting and retaining and developing people who are going to be able to deliver on our ambitions is really, really key. So we need to make sure that we have people with the right skills, and we need to make sure that they are as productive as they possibly can be, and that we recruit and retain people who are really committed to our social purpose and to doing things in the right way. We also need to recognise that, particularly in our social housing stock, but not exclusively, we have rising numbers of vulnerable residents. So people who really do need our support and assistance. And sometimes people who are not necessarily vulnerable, but may be in crisis in their lives. So we try to organise our services, and we will try to organise our services to make sure that we're in a position to be able to respond to that. We're also seeing a rise in incidents of antisocial behaviour. I think particularly since the start of the pandemic, we saw a rise, and that hasn't really reduced. So that does present us with some challenges. And for our residents, if they want to feel safe in their communities and in their homes, it's something that we need to work with them and with other agencies in local areas to address. We also are very clear from the feedback that we get that our residents want a faster, more efficient, more responsive, and services that feel personalised too. And this is what we tend to experience from the best service companies in the rest of our lives. So why shouldn't our residents also experience that from us? So that is a real challenge for us, which we need to address over the coming years. And then last but not least, We need to think about the green agenda and how we make sure that we improve our energy efficiency as an organisation, reduce our carbon footprint, and get to net zero in the next few decades. And primarily, that means that we need to think about our housing stock and how we make sure that it is energy efficient. It's really, really important for us to focus on what our residents are telling us. So this is a summary of the sort of things that customers will say to us when we don't get it right. And our focus and our priority around responding to residents and making sure that we really do deliver the best services in the future is based on the feedback that we've had. So they ask us to make it easier for them to get what they need. They want us to get repairs done right first time, and that probably for most people is the most important service that we provide. They want to be kept informed. They want us to genuinely listen and to fully respond to their concerns and priorities. They want to feel safe and secure in our homes. And I talked about building safety and social behaviour earlier on, and these are the key elements of this. They want us to be more visible and connected to what is happening to them and in their neighbourhoods. If they have cause to complain, they want us to resolve those complaints fully and swiftly. And most of our residents also want us to provide good support to people who are disadvantaged and who are vulnerable. Most people who live in our housing are pleased to have the opportunity to do so, to have a safe, decent, affordable home, and they want others to have that opportunity too. And some residents also want us to help them when they experience changing housing needs, which is something which is a real challenge for us because there is a shortage of affordable housing, but something we need to work towards. So in the run up to our 100th anniversary in 2024, we want to make sure that we really do reconnect to the origins of Origin and create a culture which is about quality, but also about efficiency, and recognises the importance of innovation and collaboration to deliver on our social purpose. And at the core of all of this is a renewed emphasis on what is most important to our residents and their local communities. So for our new corporate plan, we have four key underlying themes. One is, and probably the most important of the four themes, is we're on your side. So this is a recognition that it's really important that we build trust with our residents and they feel that we are on their side, that we're on the same side. And in everything that we do, everything we say, and in all of our actions, we need to display our commitment to the fact that we're on our residents' side. It's also about recognising that small changes make a big difference. So cumulatively, each and every one of us, whatever our position in the organisation, has an opportunity to make improvements in the way that we do things, in the way that our team does things, in the way that we do things across the organisation to really have a positive impact. We also want to make sure that we become a more data-driven business. So we recognise that businesses which are most successful in today's world are the ones that really use data intelligently and help and use it to help them to make decisions. So that's something which we need to make sure is a constant theme as we move forward. And then finally, partnerships with a purpose. So we recognise, as I said earlier, that we can't do this alone, either as individuals or even as an organisation. We need to work with others. So we need to develop, create and sustain partnerships with others which have a real purpose and recognise common objectives and how we can work together more effectively to achieve our goals. So, what are our ambitions for 2025 over the next few years? So, they are quite simple, not to say they're easy to achieve, and they will be challenging. The first one is creating services that make people's lives easier. So, when we talk about our services, we mean both our landlord and our support services. We want to make sure that our residents live in homes that they are proud to live in. And we want to make sure that the communities are places that our residents also feel proud to live in. When we're building new homes, we need to recognise that needs are changing, and we want to be able to meet those changing future needs. Clearly, we want to make sure that in everything we do, we're having a positive social impact. And for our people, we want to make sure that our workforce are engaged, that they're motivated, and have the right skills to be able to deliver, and people who are living our values every day. And we also want to create a great place to work that has a positive culture, where we genuinely embrace diversity, and we actively tackle inequality, and that we offer opportunity to individuals as well as flexible working options. So I just want to explain a little bit more about how we expect to achieve each of these ambitions. So first of all, services that make people's lives easier. So this is about creating a partnership approach. It's about making sure that we are visible and connected to residents, making sure that vulnerable people are provided with support, either directly or through working with other agencies. That we define and communicate a clear service offer, and provide training to our staff to make sure that everybody understands the offer that we're making and the standards that we're aiming to achieve. We want to, alongside a personalised service, make sure that our digital services are efficient and they're evolving fast to meet changing expectations. We need to make sure that we are learning the lessons from feedback given by customers and any complaints that they make, and making sure that we understand those lessons learned and we apply in practice the changes that we need to make to improve customer experience. We also want to make sure that we recognise that our residents live in wider communities, in blocks, on estates generally, and we want to make sure that we're providing a coordinated and coherent approach. So this means that we need to work together across the organisation to recognise residents' priorities around their estates, and that we're able to respond appropriately. We want to develop and evolve our repair service so that it is flexible and reliable, and over time offers more choice, more customer choice. And we also want to expand and roll out our existing customer relationship management system. So this is our database for recording all information around our customers and any inquiries they make and any action we take to respond to those inquiries. So it's really important, if we're going to be more efficient and effective, that we use this system more fully in the future. So thinking about homes that people are proud to live in, as I mentioned earlier, we need to continue to invest to meet new building safety standards. We also need to actively manage our assets, so our resident homes, which means as a basis we need really good quality, usable data, usable information, and we need to use that information to make better decisions. We also want to create a program of investment in communal areas and the public realm, because we recognise that that's all part and parcel of feeling proud of the area that you live in. And we need to plan to invest in modern standards in our home. So this is not simply about new kitchens, new bathrooms and so on. It's also about new technology. So for example, our programme to roll out fibre optic to all of our blocks. We want to develop and deliver a strategy for our retirement housing, recognising that over the course of the next few years, it's quite possible that people who are older will want a different kind of service offer. So we need to think about what that looks like and make adjustments accordingly. And we also need to plan to enhance environmental standards. So as I mentioned earlier, we need to create a meaningful plan that's deliverable and practical, that will achieve these goals around carbon reduction that are so important. So thinking about communities and places that people are proud to be part of, partnership is absolutely vital to that. And when we think about that, we need to think really broadly, not just about statutory agencies or voluntary agencies, but also commercial organisations, because many commercial organisations have a preparedness and a willingness to have a social impact. So we can take advantage of that to work with them to bring more resources in to help our communities. In building new homes to meet future needs, first of all, we want to maximise our ability to build affordable homes, which means that we need to create cross subsidy. Usually that's from building for private sale as well as shared ownership. We want to make sure we're meeting emerging and future needs, so thinking about how the needs of younger people might change, working people, older people, and so on. And generally finding new ways to maximise our capacity to build more. And then finally, in terms of social impact, we need to be able to demonstrate the full extent of our social impact as an organisation. So the things that we do as a core business, but also the added value that we bring. And then for our people, as I mentioned earlier on, this is about having engaged and motivated and skilled people who are productive, who live our values, and who feel genuinely this is a great place to work and has a positive culture. So this rather perhaps confusing looking slide indicates the projects which we're currently focused on in the current year. So we have some top priority projects there, those which are also important but perhaps don't require as much attention and resource, and then those which we're working on in the background and it's more about business as usual. If you'd like to know more about any of those projects, then please do check the ONET or speak to your manager or speak to the head of change, and we'll be very happy to share that information with you. We do provide regular updates too through virtual forums and through the ONET. So I just want to share with you now our corporate targets. So there are three. One is about customer effort. So this is about making sure that our customers experience an easy process when they contact us. They get what they need from us, they get it quickly, and they get what they want. So that's the first one. The second one is around value for money. So as I mentioned earlier, there are real constraints around our resources. We're financially strong, we are robust, but we need to make sure that we're looking after our finances, that we continue to be in that position, which means that every one of us individually in our teams and across the organisation needs to think about how we get best value for money. And that's not about cost cutting, it is about making sure that we spend our money wisely. And then the third corporate target is about engagement. So we recognise that if we are going to achieve our ambitions, we need to have a very engaged workforce. So people who join the organisation because they want to make a difference and feel that they are making a difference once they're here, and are able to progress personally and in their careers while they're with us. So engagement with our employees, with people who work here, is really, really important. So thank you very much for listening to my presentation. I do hope it has made sense to you and that it inspires you to do even better work in the future. If you do have any further questions, please don't hesitate to contact me direct or indeed any member of the executive team, and I'd be happy to talk to you more and answer any questions that you have. Thank you.